So Bill, you called us together for a Boba Fett, the Book of Boba Fett reaction session. So we didn't bother letting anyone know our opinions for the whole time, at least not record it. I'm sure we've letting our people know our opinions. But we got a reaction 3 days later. How we feel about the Book of Boba Fett?
Overall, I personally enjoyed it. There was the really horrible third episode and the really annoying and overused Twi'lek government guy, the spokesperson for the mayor, which were hard to sit through. But I like most of it. I didn't have a horrible reaction to the finale like a lot of people did.
Yeah, some people really react. It's been really divisive. Like so much is divisive.
I am quite surprised by the amount of pun incoming rancor that the series has brought up with a lot of people. I mean, is it the best television in the world? No. Did I enjoy it? Yes, I really did. Yes, there were some I did have a few minor issues with it, but I honestly don't see how some people could be so violently against it. I really don't.
The violence is a lot. People get really, really upset about this stuff. I think it almost becomes actual violence. Dan, what was your take?
I enjoyed it. I really did. I felt that the first episode should have been a little longer to get it going. It seemed like it was a little too short, but all in all, I enjoyed the series.
Gotcha. I feel like of the four of us, I'm probably the crankiest about it. I don't really reach like violent levels of like vitriol towards the show, but I don't know. I feel it's that thing. I should have learned better by now with stuff from Star Wars, right? Like if you anticipate or expect something, that's really the thing that brings it down. So as you know, I'm kind of a Boba Fett guy. I kind of really like Boba Fett, and so I think for me, I was expecting the Boba Fett from The Mandalorian, and I don't think we ever saw the Boba Fett from The Mandalorian in this so much, right? Like I think, I mean, and Dan's been subject to this on Twitter because he's I think the only person on here who follows me on Twitter, so he sees these things from me. But I think for me, I came in with expectations that was going to be like a Star Wars Breaking Bad. And I had to come to the conclusion, I've tweeted this, so no surprise here, but I think what I realized like 3 episodes in that this is Star Wars Woody Allen. And if you kind of go into it, that like Boba Fett is just having a really awful day and just like ridiculously bad things are going to happen to Boba Fett. And that's the sense of humor. I don't probably sense of humor, like jokes. I think Star Wars needs jokes, but it doesn't have any jokes, it's a problem. But the almost existential like levels of badness that were happening to Boba Fett, I think, pushed it to really. They almost should have built this either as a comedy or if they had animated it. If this was animated, I think people would have had a very different reaction. But because it was live action. And I'll stop talking in a second. Me talking too much, is that a surprise?
Yeah.
But I think the other thing, what I kind of take away from it was I didn't anticipate, not necessarily I don't want to say like the script was stupid, but the characters were not intelligent, right? Like I was coming up with all these like, oh, clearly this is going to be a double cross, and clearly someone's saying this over here. And nothing like that. Every character was exactly what they purported to be. Everything was exactly on the surface. There was no sneaky shenanigans going on, and so as a cartoon, that probably people would have like noticed that less, I think. But as live action, you expect people to be a little more conniving, I think, if you're in the crime lord business, right?
Yeah. I mean, one thing that didn't make sense to me at all was like the Boba Fett regime was basically Fett and Fennec and 2 Gamorrean guards for like the first 3 episodes. And these 4 people have such influence that they're able to control the entire city's crime lords with basically 0 power base. To me, that made no sense. I don't know if that was like a COVID thing that they couldn't have a huge army of followers or whatever, or
they could CGI that at this point, right? Just copy and paste a couple Gorgamorians onto the screen, right? The Gorgamorians, by the way, never get named, right? So they're like 50% of like the people in the palace, but they never get named.
And they had 88. Don't forget 88.
Oh, don't forget 88.
Critical to their power structure.
Right. Who had a very weird serial number in the first episode. He had like BT785 or something like that for his original credits. Weird, if you ask me.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
So no, I was watching it. I looked up on Internet Movie Database after the first episode because I like to look into background stuff. And he was given a weird serial number that was not 8D8 in the original episode for some reason. I don't know why.
I mean, he wasn't.
Yeah, what you're saying about the COVID restrictions. Yeah, I understand that that really hampered a lot of the production, and I honestly wish one of my two big complaints, and they're not that big, is that the series was like 2 or 3 episodes longer. It's because it seemed like slow build up, slow build up, slow build up, slow build up, slow build up. Oh crap, we have to have a finale.
Yeah.
That's the
kind of thing I'm talking about. That Joe. Like I felt like in another series, each of these characters would have been introduced to have some kind of arc to them, and that arc would have like been played out and come back and things like that. But it really just like Danny Trejo was really just a cameo. Like we never came back to the Rancor. Rolling Stone had an article on this where the Rolling Stone take on it was like the Rancor would have made more sense if like we had seen him trying to train the Rancor, right?
Yes.
And this powerful moment at the end would have been when it kind of like finally gets the Rancor to do things that he's been trying to get it to do, right? But that wasn't. It was just he literally walked in front of it. It like did an Apple face recognition, and then he like hops on it at the last episode. So, and I get why like on paper all this stuff sounds cool on paper, right? Like Boba Fett riding Rancor into Mos Espa to battle a giant droid. That like definitely on paper, like who would not want that, right? That's like it goes back to my theory. Like Star Wars maybe works best as trailers, right? Like it's shown all these scenes in a trailer, you'd be pumped to see the movie, and then you realize that nothing happening in the movie actually has to do what you think it does by the way the trailer's assembled. But yeah. So you guys, so like, what were your favorite parts? What were your favorite parts of the Book of Boba Fett? Cad Bane showing up.
Yeah.
I like the fact that he showed up. I was kind of, and Bill, we've discussed this on Facebook. I'm not fond of the way his face was handled.
Oh, so you're on that's a big internet thing right now, right? Where that one person, I should look it up. Who was it? Who redid the shot?
Yeah,
with like more Clone Wars-esque graphics, and it's created as everything Star Wars. Now there's this awful polarity and divisiveness between like you're a baby man child who thinks things have to look like cartoons versus you can accept that.
Exactly, but I mean, Cad Bane's animation model was based directly on the Duros masks from the Mos Eisley Cantina. He was made to look exactly like that, so his cartoon face is the most realistically accurate face on there. It isn't stylized because when you're doing graphic design, the simpler it is, the more you have to get it exactly right or it doesn't look right. I mean, you get a sort of cadaverous skin and red eyes and egg-shaped head and a low-set mouth. Okay, fine. But you could make it look more like salad fingers than say Cad Bane or whatever. So yeah, you've only got an eye.
Salad fingers? Did you see salad fingers?
Salad fingers. Yeah, he's an old internet cartoon. Best taken in small doses. Weird, gray-skinned mutant in a post-apocalyptic wasteland with big red eyes and a small mouth with jagged teeth and long fingers. But he's just an egg with 2 eyes and a mouth. So same basic principle. You haven't got much to work with. You got to get the details exactly right for it to look right. But that's my take.
I think that you have to replace Nigel's black box with a salad fingers gif.
Sounds good. I always thought was I only went out of the loop, or is this like something that we all know about salad fingers?
I've never heard of it in my life.
I've never heard of salad fingers.
Heather only just introduced me to it like about a month ago, but apparently it's been around since like 1990 something or other.
Let's look it up.
Is it related to Slender Man or something?
It's not that far away from it, actually.
It's Slender Man's vegan cousin, salad finger.
I like rusty spoons.
Usually I would let these things go by. I would assume Nigel's making kind of a British kind of reference that I should know that I don't know, but I asked.
Well, it is an English cartoon, but apparently it was a big internet thing back in the day, and me being not very technically minded, as the lack of picture attests, it completely passed me by.
Oh yeah, look at that. I pulled it up. I got to see that. Okay, interesting. Well, salad fingers. They tell us something about the complexity of the Book of Boba Fett that we've now spent like half our conversation talking about salad fingers. So Cadmium was neat. Yeah, that was kind of cool to have him show up on screen, right? And I think the coolest thing about that, maybe even more than because he doesn't really do much, right? He like shows up, beats Boba Fett in a duel, and then gets stabbed. And I think but the coolest thing about this for me is that means we can now backfill and imagine Cad Bane's stories all through up to Boba Fett, right? So he's alive during then, so he could like show up in other stuff.
Cad Bane series coming in 2024.
Right? He's not done with it. He can backfill that. Do you think he's dead? I mean, I guess everything's been so obvious in the show, so that I guess he is dead, but does he have to be dead?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is, they brought back Boba Fett from being in the Sarlacc. They brought back Fennec Shand. They can bring back anybody. They're bringing back. We saw, if you realized who was in the Bacta tank, they're bringing him back.
They also there was something. It was one of those online thing on YouTube things about details you've missed, and there's a little square, little circuitry panel on Cad Bane's lapel that was still beeping when they zoomed in on him unmoving on the ground. So heart monitor, I don't know.
That's a good thing to keep right down your chest, right? So that way I'm still keeping them good.
Bring him back for Boba Fett's season 2, and he'll be the bane of his existence.
I missed that.
That one. I actually thought a nice touch. So I didn't think that Cobb Vanth was mortally wounded, right? Because it never occurred to me he'd need the Bacta tank. I thought it was going to be a touching him again. This is me comparing Book of Boba Fett versus the only version, my own version in my head, which is unfair, I guess, the show. But I thought it would be a nice touch was Cad Bane in the Bacta tank, right? And that Boba was going to try to do for Cad Bane what the Tuskens had done for him, right? Like someone shows you mercy, right? And then you have this kind of turnaround, but that would have been, because it would have been also surprising, because what could that mean? What are the results of that? But no, none of that. I mean, I could go on for hours about all the things I thought they could have done differently. Like,
I mean, maybe it was a Pike family that had not yet established itself as kind of like a gangster thing. You have the main family that's super powerful, then you have all the little satellite families that feed into the main one, but they have their own little thing going on, and they have to support themselves and grow themselves through crime.
That would have been a nice nod to droids, right? Isn't that the premise for droids? It's the mob boss who doesn't have
the Throne Gang.
Yeah, exactly, right? That's what it should have been, right? Gotcha. Okay, cool. And why did they blow up the Twix bar again?
Because I think she was on the side of Fett. She was willing to pay him, not have any problems with him, work with him and stuff like that. So.
But they were gonna when they asked for the Pike's helmets. Don't you think she would have put the gold in there too? Don't you think she was playing both sides?
Could be.
I don't know.
Maybe they were trying to send a message. Hey, we mean business.
So they blow up the people who. She doesn't seem like a particular threat. Like, let's send a message to who, right? Because it seems like everybody else is siding with the Pikes at that point, or not. I don't know. This is the problem with the show. I don't know, right? Like because all the other houses are now aligned with the Pikes, and then there's a bar that doesn't seem to be causing any trouble that they blow up. And see, because I thought, doing the thing again, like when they blew up the bar, I thought the response would have been like, oh, like all these people who weren't going to fight the Pikes are going to be like, well, wait a second, like if the Pikes are willing to blow up her, right now we have to rally together. I thought it was going to be a rallying point, like, okay, now you've messed with one of ours. We're actually going to take action with Boba Fett, as opposed to if it maybe they blew up the bar and then they side with the Pikes, but we don't see that, right? So it just leaves it. So much of the show is just hanging out there. I still don't even know why Boba Fett wants to be a daimyo. Like I never.
Well, I think it goes back to what Bill said earlier about there being Boba Fett, Fennec Shand, a couple of Gamorreans, and 8D8 versus an entire Pike syndicate. Yeah. And the rest of the people thought, well, I know which way this is going. I'm going to side with the Pikes because, damn.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, I get why they did it. I mean, I get why they betrayed him. I mean, I think that was kind of like the second he says, like, okay, everyone, promise not to betray me. Like, that's pretty much their betray him, right? I mean, this is a total fool's errand. And so, I don't know. Other people better start talking or else I'm just going to kind of whiny pants on this. But I thought we were to find out this whole time that Boba Fett knew it was the Pikes, and that this was to get revenge for the Tuskens, right? Like that would, like this whole thing would have been set up. He would have gone through it would have made sense, right? Like when the Tuskens were wiped out, he was going to get his armor, become a daimyo, turn things around, and then get revenge for his people. And then I thought it would have been a nice touch if he left the palace to Fennec, right? He's like, I'm done here. I never really wanted this anyway. Now you can be in charge. I'm going to go blast off and go have more adventures, right? But it just seemed like, being a daimyo is something I haven't done before. I'll do that for a while.
Well, I think he's going to leave it to Cobb Vanth.
I think that's really plausible, right? Like that, because he's a leader, so he has him in the back of the tank, and then he can like leave the keys of the kingdom to Cobb Vanth. That makes sense to me. Totally.
Instead of the Godfather, you have the Godfetther.
To be followed by the Cobfather.
This has got corn on the cob fee.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, lend me an ear.
So, hi, Colonel. So, what do you guys? I'm doing my whiny thing. What else do you guys want to talk about that was working for you? So that way.
Well, let's talk about the good episode, the Mandalorian episode.
Yeah, that was. I mean, I episode 6, Boba Fett Fan Club had me review for them, and I gave it a 5 out of 5, and it incurred the wrath of Boba Fett fans who were like, "How dare you say this was good when Boba Fett show?" Right? I'm
getting really, really sick of the hyper polarized nature of the internet and basically real life these days, where if you're not 110% with me, you're part of the problem and have to be exterminated, sort of thing. And just stop it. Just let us have our opinions.
Yeah.
Talk about that episode of Mandalorian that was in the middle of Boba Fett.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that was fun. I liked it. 5 out of 5. I thought when the first episode of The Mandalorian, I thought was like, I mean, that was great. It was like The Mandalorian. It was cool. I wanted to see Boba Fett doing that stuff, right? I thought that was like super fun, chopping people in half and heads off and things.
Yeah, that was brutal. That first bounty he took in.
That was Disney, so you have to like it.
I love that he like injures himself with the Darksaber, which is something I wish we saw more of. Like rookies pick up lightsabers and they can swing around like nobody's business, but like you never see somebody like chop off their own tentacle or something like that.
Well, remember the first time Luke gets a lightsaber, he points it toward his eye.
Right. Yeah, I thought that was well done and really tragic too, right? Because now Din's been kind of kicked out of his group.
Tribe, yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to get your guys' opinion on one thing that I can't wrap my head around. So they're on this ring station that's rotating to create artificial gravity.
Mm-hmm.
And then the two Mando and the big guy, I forget what his name is. They're fighting on like a platform that's above space.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Vizsla, right? Is it Paz Vizsla?
Yeah, exactly. And there's supposed to be this big risk of if you fall off either side of this thing, you're going to go out into space. Yeah. But as soon as you're off that platform, you're no longer subject to the force from the spinning ring. So I think the gravity from the station will pull you right back up to the bottom of the station, right?
I mean, I guess I don't know. Who has the physics degree here?
It doesn't seem like you would shoot out into space forever because you only have that force applied while you're spinning.
Well, isn't the funny, because the thing is, it's centripetal force, right? Centripetal force,
yeah, exactly.
Right? So it's like pushing this way. So I could imagine it's like you're on the amusement park.
But it's only like
so.
Like think about like a rocket going to orbit, it has to have so much force to get out of the gravity.
Right.
I assume the station wouldn't have as much gravity, as much mass or gravity as a planet, but still it would have its own attraction back to you. So as soon as you weren't being pulled away by the spinning, you'd be pulled back in by the mass of the station. So there wouldn't be any risk of you floating off into space if you fell off.
I try not to think about that too much because there's also artificial gravity in Star Wars.
Yeah,
there is.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, I mean, I did think like, was gravity behaving the way it should be behaving when he's like under the thing, right?
Right. Yeah.
I'm going to wager, and if we post this video, maybe a physicist can chime in. I'm going to wager that what would happen would be, you would, if it is centripetal force that's keeping them on the platform, that if you slipped off, you'd like be flung out. But I think that you're right. Over time, the gravity would pull you back in. I don't think it would immediately suck back in though, because I don't think the gravity of that wheel is as strong. But hey, thank goodness we had a different setting, right? We had someplace else to go in the series. It was a cool, neat place to be. There was stuff going on there. If I could complain again, the scene though at the spaceport when he puts the Darksaber in the luggage, I guess that has to happen in Star Wars. You got to pack your luggage, but it just didn't seem like it's something we should have seen. Like it didn't even go anywhere, right? There was nowhere. I didn't know why we had to see it. Like you're going to show that. If you have in like this kind of movie, if you show him put it in a piece of luggage, the luggage has to get stolen. The luggage has to get lost.
Right, yeah. He opens the case and it's empty now.
Exactly. But no, it was a nothing burger. So I just didn't understand why we had to even see that, because it just seemed so mundane. And
yeah,
I think it was the producers and writers having a dig at the TSA.
I think so. I think probably, yeah, all the kind of security stuff. But I mean, it would be like Frodo, like, going into a tavern and like handing over the ring to somebody, because, like, I don't know, it doesn't make any sense. It just seems silly. But I like Star Wars. Remember that? You like Star Wars? I have a fan.
Yeah. How'd you like the armor melting down the sphere because you can't have weapons made of Beskar? Whenever she was making the flying, singing birds out of Beskar for 2 seasons of Mandalorian.
Yeah, that puzzled me as well.
You couldn't have weapons made of Beskar that she didn't make.
Maybe.
Maybe
there's something about that.
She didn't really portray it that way. She was like, Beskar is not for weapons, it's for defense.
Yeah, well, considering she's effectively the head of an extremist cult, and heads of extremist cult make up whatever rules they want to at the time.
Head of an extremist cult, comprised of one member at this point. But yeah, that's the inconsistency. Are you suggesting that there's inconsistencies in Star Wars, right?
No, never.
No, never. Everything makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah. Super tight writing.
I know. I feel like so he doesn't have the spear. He doesn't have his disintegrator anymore, right? And I thought for sure they were setting up for him to hand off the saber to Boba Fett. Because the whole Mythosaur thing, I thought that was the clue that Boba Fett was the Mythosaur because of the arm patch. And that didn't happen. or that Boba Fett was going to give Din his armor, and that didn't happen. So I don't know where they're going, but I'm not sure if they do either. So, right. But it does feel like a lot of that. Like, so you set the thing up, and then you like take it out the next episode. Well, the spear served its purpose to have him fight Moff Gideon, so we don't need that spear anymore. And now we'll give him a mithril shirt. What did you think about Grogu's choice?
Happy with it.
Yeah.
It takes him out of the danger of being sliced up by Kylo Ren, which we kind of were expecting anyway. So
I don't know why anybody would think that Grogu would still be a student in Luke's academy for 30 years.
Well, if he's like age 3 at 50, I guess like age 80. But yeah, I was doing a joke that when Luke is trying to explain to Grogu who Yoda was, shouldn't Grogu's response have been like, yeah, I know I was his TA for 10 years, like back to the Jedi Academy. Like I'm familiar with Yoda, thank you. Like I was actually at there. I was trained. Yeah. But I mean, my wife made a great point, which is the second Luke says lives are short for you, like, sure, so go hang out with Din, because that's probably going to be a short period of time. He can pick up, he knows enough Jedi training now, right, to be able to get out there, and then when Din dies, he can go on and go back to the academy if they allow him back in, right, or get transfer credits at the Sith Academy, I guess.
But Luke was too old at 16 to train to be a Jedi, and
Anakin was not too old at 9.
Yeah. So much consistency.
Have I infected the conversation with my negativity, and now we're all just go through it. I should have been converted to the side of positivity. But I thought it was fun. And I mean, I thought the Luke thing was pretty convincing. I was buying it. It was cool to see Ahsoka again. I don't know why she was there. I'm sure we'll find out later. All that was fun. Do you have any do we want a season 2? Predictions for season 2? What do you guys think would happen with a season 2? What would you want to say?
Did they announce that there's going to be one?
No, but it's fun to think about.
It's Disney. There's going to be one. There's going to be a Cad Bane spin-off. There's going to be a mod spin-off, probably.
Because, I mean, we haven't even seen Andor season 1. They've already announced season 2 for that.
It's true, yeah. I always felt Boba Fett would be a one-off.
So it didn't leave you wanting more of that, it sounds like.
Well, I was talking to my friend Chris, I think yesterday, and he was talking about how all their Star Wars projects are going to merge into one big gigantic Marvel universe type thing with lots of cross-pollination and cameos and guest appearances and intersecting storylines and all that sort of thing. And I thought, oh geez, can't we just have nice self-contained series with maybe an occasional cameo instead of making us watch 20 hours a week of stuff?
We pivoted to talking about collectibles for Book of Boba Fett and how they're very, very expensive. And Dan and Nigel have confessed that they have the throne room coming. So they're going to have throne room. Yeah, I mean, at that for $200, you should actually be able to sit on the throne. It should be like
real gold in the money pouch.
Yeah, I'm envious. That's pretty cool. I guess I'll just stick with my old 1980s Jabba the Hutt with the little opening gate thing.
Nigel's only doing it so he can add a custom twisted vase to the display.
Yes, I am.
Are you guys getting any other Boba Fett stuff?
Some of the figures, I think, what I've been able to grab, like some of them, when they go up for, when they're gone in like 2 seconds, it's like, okay, well, that's done.
Yeah, I mean, when so many of them are exclusives and they sell out in 2 minutes, it's like, why even bother? Why even try?
I have to wonder, given how many collectors, I think we have to, a lot of us border on the OCD side of things, and how many of us once, like is Hasbro playing a dangerous game there? Because on one hand, you're gonna have the person who's willing to pay anything pay the scalper, go on eBay, or just do whatever to get the thing. But I have this like feeling where like, well, if I couldn't get one thing to complete the set, I'm not even going to bother going down that rabbit hole. Like I will avoid waves of things that I think belong as together. If I can't get the whole thing, I know I'm not going to be able to get it, then I'll kind of avoid, right? Like I was saying, like, I don't think I haven't ordered any of the Boba Fett stuff, except I think I have a 3 3/4 inch Fennec Shans and then the retro Boba Fett. And I say like I haven't ordered anything, and boom, that's like $40 worth of stuff right there. Gotcha. So what other Valentine's Day is coming up? Who do you think would be Boba Fett's Valentine?
The Slave One. Or who can't say that anymore, can we? The Fire Spray.
Fire Spray class ship, not the Slave One.
Did you hear a lot of people were upset that he showed up on the Rancor and not in the Fire Spray?
I did see some memes about that.
Yeah. I mean, it does make more sense to come in with a massive armored gunship if you're fighting. Of course, collateral damage. So you could argue it one way or another.
Yeah, I would think that if people were to nitpick, they'd say like, oh, the shields and the droids were starfighter class shields and it wouldn't have made a difference or something like that. My bigger thing is he sent Fennec in to go bump off the leader of the Pikes. Why didn't he just fly in on the spaceship and blow up the headquarters and do what he did to the bikers, to the Pikes?
It was a time-sensitive attack.
He's in a spaceship.
No. But if he had flown away, he wouldn't be defending Mos Espa.
Well, do you think? I guess the Pikes might have continued the droid attack if their leader was dead. They wouldn't have been like, "Whoa, maybe we need to." They took out our leader. Maybe we should surrender or just bail out after our leader's been blown up. Or again, the time it took. I think my wife made the point. The time it took to get the Rancor. Like, how far away is everything on Tatooine? Because I got the sense it was a sprawling desert, but it seems like everyone can walk everywhere, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that because I've got that complete galaxy Tatooine globe.
Yeah.
Back home in England. And I remember seeing Mos Espa and Jabba's Palace and Dune Sea and all that stuff. And I can't remember how far away they are from each other.
Apparently it's like walking distance because he gets the Rancor from the palace, unless he like parked the Rancor nearby just in case. I don't know. But one assumes he had to get the Rancor from the palace to Mos Espa, and it wouldn't have been fast. Like he could have like grabbed his spaceship, blown up the headquarters, and then still had time to probably spin around and blow up the two things. It would have probably been a faster fight. But it looked cool, and I think that's what they were going for, right? So
yeah, the writers, Favreau didn't care about all this logic. He was like, I want to have a Rancor come in and do this big battle and do the King Kong tribute, and that's what we're gonna do. It's like,
dude.
Yeah, I think he had the Rancor just sitting at the rank corner.
Well, maybe the Rancor
were to repackage the Rancor as this Rancor with Boba Fett and a Danny Trejo figure. I think this thing would sell out in like a day.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So people will buy it. So long as they don't do it as a HasLab, right?
Well, that's what he's saying. If they redid HasLab as Boba Fett's Rancor,
yes,
with Boba Fett and Danny Trejo, then it would get
instead of Luke Skywalker and Gamorrean.
I think I missed the beginning of what you said, so I'm just going to edit out my joke because it shows me. Okay.
Own that failure.
I own it here with you. No one wants to watch me fail. That's not what the people come in for. It's exactly what they come in for. Well, maybe the Rancor could be Valentine's. I think the Rancor is Boba's Valentine. I think I think that was the thing. Boba is like big lovable animal lover, right? I think that was.
They are very loving creatures.
Rancor could be Boba Fett's Valentine. Yeah. Another takers on the Boba Fett Valentine game.
Oh, Fennec, I guess, would be the obvious one.
Yeah. Are they a couple? They're not really a couple, though, right? They're just like.
No, she's along for the ride.
Yeah.
Depends on the ride, though.
Okay.
So open the door and innuendo.
of the Valentine's Day joke, which has gotten weird. Yeah, so they had the Mando episodes. We like the Mando episodes; those are fun. And then the finale, I get why they did the finale, right? We get it was there. Do any of you have opinions? The other thing the internet is divided over is Spinny Cyborg Man. Do any of you have opinions on the Spinny Cyborg Man? Have you seen the brouhaha about that?
Yeah, oh yeah, I've seen a lot about that.
Spinny Cyborg Man?
Yes.
Apparently there's, go ahead, Dan, you take it away.
That there, when he was helping Lacquer Stanton, and instead of just turning around, he does this spin with the gun and shoots kind of things. So everybody's, oh my God, why did he do that? Oh my God, that's just so insane. But you think that since they're those guys that ride those classy speeder bikes, that of course he would then take it for a spin.
Ah.
I
thought it was just kind of a stylish, cool-looking move. I didn't know it was controversial.
It's apparently very controversial. Apparently, there's fans have divided even over that. I mean, I'll say actually, my wife and I saw it. We actually like what? But okay, I think we were just exhausted at that point by people just making these choices, right? Like I had tweeted. I feel like this is largely me repeating my tweets. But I tweeted like. So they decide to set up their base of operations in the bombed out bar, right? Like Boba Fett's like, where should we? I'm going to go back to section. No. Set up in the bombed out bar, the place that was just bombed. Clearly, it's vulnerable enough to just get bombed, but we'll set up operations here. It's all right, we'll set up operations here. And then everyone leaves him and abandons him in the bombed out bar. And then I don't know. I've not done urban combat. I wish Steve was here. He could have some thoughts on urban warfare. But was it the best strategy to completely split up the team? Like Bill, you were saying at the beginning, Boba's crew is what, like 8 people? Like this is his entire army, and then he sends them all out to different parts of the city one by one, where they all get picked off. And then when they get back together, everyone's hiding behind the same one speeder. And Dan, you retorted me on Twitter. I said, wouldn't it just take like one thermal detonator to end the entire show? Just like lob one thermal detonator behind that speeder, you take out all of Boba Fett's guys, and then that's it. But they didn't have.
Well, I mean, the thing is, then you had the battle with the 2 Gamorreans and everybody, but you didn't get to see the whole thing. You saw more of a Cliff's Notes.
That's
so the other bad strategy was having this mass of soldiers running down the center of a main thoroughfare rather than scattering, so the droid couldn't have one place to shoot at.
Yeah, that would have been the time to split up, right? The droid can't get all, and then they all just all cluster together, and then get picked off. It was. I feel like this and the speeder bike chase scene, someone needs to redo with like the yakety sax Benny Hill music, right? Like replay this and fast forward. But I just see, maybe it's just a thing. I just keep falling back on nitpicking when there's a vacuum in the conversation. That's what a Star Wars fan maybe does. Falls down to nitpicking.
There's a lot of nit to pick in this one. So what else can you do?
Yeah, I mean, we each notice different things. I mean, like the funny things that get me were all the wildlife of Tatooine being a trained environmental field biologist. I'm noticing things like the warts and that multi-armed sand ape kraken thing, whatever that was.
That to me looked more Ray Harryhausen than Lucasfilm.
Yeah, and I thought that it was like a cross between a kraken and the giant Ymir and all sorts of other Harryhausen stuff. And I thought, well, that's spectacular. That shows love of cinematic history and craft and all that sort of thing. But why have we never heard of these things before? And what the hell is the ecology of that sort of thing? How does a predator that big survive in such a forbidding and barren landscape?
Well, maybe that was some kind of royalty, the Emir of Kraken.
But also it was also like living right by that one farmer's house, right? Like the first time we see the biker gang,
Yeah.
You just kill a farmer for one reason or another, and it's like Tatooine's hopping, right? It's like you got a oyster farm with the farmer and the big monster and a biker gang and the Tusken Raider all all right on top of each other. I guess you can walk to everything on Tatooine because it's just all right there. Yeah, it seems like a have a place, and apparently with a very bustling tourist industry, right? I mean, how many people are coming off those spaceships?
The question for you guys, was that the great dragon skull that was on top of the sandcrawler?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
And it was the ribs inside the bar, right? So those were nice touches back to the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Right.
That was a great touch then.
But yeah, Tatooine hopping Tatooine. Yeah, cool.
And then we have Cammy and Fixer with their little cameo.
Yes.
Cammy.
That's the way to pull that one. Yeah, for the bar scene there.
So that was supposed to be Tashi Station where they were, or
yeah.
The internet was calling that pretty early on because they took the screenshot from the cut footage and then compared it to when Boba walks in the door. So there was that kind of nod.
You even got
to power use him as the one to update everybody's tech because he's a real fixer-upper.
Yeah. Maybe that's why they don't want Luke wasting his time over power converters at Tashi Station. Maybe it's
because it's just a bar.
It's something that they serve, right? It's not actually.
Yeah, it's a drink.
It's like maybe is Luke of age? Well, it was the 70s. Luke's probably of age when it's Halloween. Pick up some power converters. Yeah, so that's
the name of the shop.
Right. And then X-Wing pilots, they seem to be having a kind of a bummer of a time, right? Because now they're just cops. I mean, I shouldn't say just cops. Cops are just a noble profession. But I mean, they went from being elite starfighters to being civilian, policing.
Law enforcement. Yeah.
Right, law enforcement. Yeah, that was not like a cop. So that was just that's not what they signed on for, right? It's like they signed
that one
on.
poor guy. Yeah. That one poor guy seems to have to patrol the entire outer rim.
Well, so what's going on? Because they got X-Wing pilots were patrolling Tatooine space for, you've been speeding. And it's like, dude, there's way worse going on that planet's surface than this guy speeding. This is what you're worried about? Like, how corrupt is the,
That's a great reflection on real life, though. That's cops are out with their speed traps instead of
taking down the
narcotics. See Tatooine at a donut shop. Then that's it. What do you guys think of the Mandalorian's new ship?
I think it's going to be available as a deluxe exclusive from Walmart for about $120.
That sounds about right. Yeah, I surprising. I had complaints about. My first complaint was, where is he going to put the bounties?
Yeah, where's he going to put the freezing chamber?
Yeah, he just, I don't know. I guess he only brings in dead people's heads and he just lets Grogu play with them. I don't know how that's supposed to work. But maybe
I have the same idea. Maybe he just sends it FedEx wherever he freezes them locally, and FedEx is the block of carbonite to the bounty holder.
That's gonna be how he does it, right? Just tosses it. If he puts dark sabers in luggage, he can definitely do that.
Yeah, FedEx.
They got these Star Cruisers going everywhere for tourists. They probably have spots where you can just drop off your carbonite criminals.
Please store all corpses in the overhead bin.
Yeah, I guess or maybe he's out of it. Maybe is he out of the game? Is that what's going on now? Is he just if he's no longer has his tribe, is he not going to do the bounty hunting? Is he going to just do what?
Probably going to go back to Mandalore and try to purify himself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka or whatever.
Yeah. But the caves aren't there anymore.
Just bombed out. Mandalore's bombed out. I don't know where this is going. Well, we also got back. I think we were having bets about that last time about whether we should keep Grogu or not. It looks like Grogu's a keeper, of course, because of the marketing. I mean, don't want to lose. Yeah, that's the huge draw for that. Any other very loose ends? Do we like what the Mos Vespa gang? What do we about the Mos Vespa gang?
So what was up with the youth culture being the only ones who wanted to get robotic modifications? Doesn't that seem like that would be hugely advantageous for people to want to update their body if it was given the option?
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I do remember there is a lot of prejudice against cyborgs in Star Wars, and that dates back to like The Empire Strikes Back. I mean, you talk about Vader being more machine than man, and Lobot basically being a lobotomized walking desktop virtual assistant, basically, and all that sort of thing. Cyborgs are looked down on generally in Star Wars. I mean, General Grievous people see him as his limitations. They make fun of him for his limitations. Vader more machine than man, Lobot, all that sort of thing. It's basically a mark of, oh, you couldn't survive, without having to get modifications, and droids are looked down upon, and so you're part droid, you're part crap sort of thing. So like with, I think it's basically essentially like a slightly more utilitarian version of kids who get all those piercings. Rebellious.
I remember that from even like the 80s comics you were saying, Nigel. Interesting too, they're all humans, right?
Yeah.
Right? There were like aliens that were, was just interesting.
Not that we saw.
Not in that group we saw. But the bikes again are another thing that are really divisive on social media, right? It's like, they don't look like Star Wars. These cars don't look like Star Wars. Yada yada. Oh no, but these are like George Lucas's like, drag racer culture, right? So they belong totally in the Star Wars universe, and people get divided about that. But it did seem like Boba Fett went from the most ruthless figure to like he's got a gang of like these like kids, Inspector Gadget kids on their mopeds, and this is where he's gonna go fight the Syndicate with. Yeah.
I'll get you next time, Gadget. Next time.
Well, that's the other thing. So the Pikes, I just feel like this whole time people have been underestimating people, right? Like the Pikes, like he raids their train in the Lawrence of Arabia scene, right? And then says, no, you're always going to pay these people. And why did he not think that they were just going to come back and just retaliate? And even Cad Bane is like, I'm going to threaten your town, and because I threatened you, none of you are going to be coming back after me after I just threatened you and shot your sheriff. No one's going to want revenge for that. I just feel like no one's thinking how other characters think in the show.
I think when you reach a certain point of power and infamy, people you get the impression that no one's ever going to touch me. This will intimidate them to the point where no one will ever think of coming back against me, and that is a real world thing. It's arrogance, and that's a real attribute that people have in the real world. So I can understand that. But having said that, it is a bit ridiculous to assume that a bunch of people out on the frontier who have a hard scrabble life every day and deal with things like crate dragons are going to be bullied by a skinny blue guy with Peter Lorre's voice.
He's another walker, right? Doesn't he like walk back?
Yeah,
he somehow walked to the town. He had to park his speeder out on the flats and walk into town, like the deputy said. Yeah. Oh man. So yeah, that's so. But I hear you're saying. You're saying, and yeah, I think if the characters are all kind of surface characters, they can all think that way. Although would have been fun, wouldn't have been delicious. So one of my predictions for episode 6 was going to be that the two Pikes in the bar weren't really Pikes, right? Like, what if the next episode? What if they had been Fennec Shand? and one of the cyborgs who like put on Pike helmets, went into the bar and blew it up to get the rival groups to come together against the Pikes. Like that would have been, because Fennec Shand would have been like, Boba's not making the choices he has to make. Boba's not willing to like make the sacrifices he has to sacrifice to lead. So if Fennec went rogue and did that would have been like, oh man, what's going to happen when Boba finds out? Or but that was literally just two Pikes who ordered a drink and then didn't drink. Because they never spoke either. So I thought that was supposed to be a tip. I thought that was a nod to the audience. They didn't speak in that sequence. That it was going to turn out that they were people we knew who were posing. But maybe it could still be. Maybe if there's in the future, we'll find out maybe it was the cyborgs. And the cyborgs did it to get Boba Fett there because they want Boba Fett in that bar for some reason. But I don't think it's going to be that smart.
Well, I thought it was interesting that Cad Bane came in and told Fett that who actually killed the Tuskens.
Yeah.
It's trying to rile him up so he do a duel.
Yeah,
that's Fennec has to talk him down, right? So
the
idea is to get him off his game, right? Because he didn't know. But it did mean that he kind of like spilled the beans. So thanks, Gad, for letting him know that. Cool. Well, any cool things anybody's working on Star Wars wise that if I ever get around to editing this video, we can plug?
Yeah.
Not at the moment. Just a couple more beer reviews I've got in the pipeline, and that's about it.
But
I still have. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say you fooled me on this one. Go ahead, Chobel.
I still have a few of my Skull Basher cans left. I did sell enough that I'm going to continue and do a second one at some point after I'm done with my next Biker Scout custom. But I still have a handful of the Skull Bashers left if anybody wants one.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was just going to say that you did. I did. I wasn't sure when I saw you post that. I was like, wow, I could see Bill and Nigel putting together a micro brewery. That could be a thing. So I was totally not sure which way that's going to go. But
it's funny you should mention that because where is it here? Bill and I had a brief discussion about that on Facebook Messenger, and I came up with a couple more types of brews. Let's see if I could just funny stuff that I riffed on the Bill's article about the brewery that we've got. Let's see if I can find it here. It's not that far back. Go ahead, talk amongst yourselves.
Dan, do you have any cool Star Wars things going on? Working on or going to go?
I did. I had back the Rancor, but then that came. I think we were like, I don't know, really close to getting it, but it didn't happen. Like I posted that article, or Bill posted that article that I wrote. That so I was gonna, like I said, I just bought the Jabba's Palace. Well, there's no longer Jabba's Palace now; it's Bib's Palace. So. I think, what is it? Tuesday, I think, is 100 days till Star Wars Celebration.
Oh wow!
Right.
Who's all going?
Not me.
Going.
Yeah.
You guys going? One of these days.
Yeah, Bill. If you get any thing for doing another patch, let me know. I'll put in.
Okay.
I keep saying, I think I've done this joke before, but I keep saying, like, at one of these cons, I want to convince somebody eventually to get their little FaceTime on their phone. They could like just wear it like here, like Twiggy and Buck Rogers, and then I could just be vicariously at the con through somebody else's phone.
Yeah, being a photo op. Hey.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Star Wars wise, I've got I'm talking with Boba Fett Fan Club. We're trying to do a season 2 of our Notice Integration show, but with COVID and everything and various technical problems, we never shot season 2, and we're kind of a little relieved because we think we might have to pivot and rethink what season 2 should be. Watching the Book of Boba Fett and fan reactions to that, so we can see. Although I was joking that I felt like the corniness of Boba Fett has kind of validated our Notice Integration. Suddenly, our goofy Boba Fett seems like he totally fits into the Star Wars universe now in ways he didn't before the Book of Boba Fett. The eye joke. How did you guys react to the eye joke? When he says to when Boba Fett says to the cyborg, keep an eye out on them or something like that.
Oh,
yeah. And then he's like, oh, sorry, because you've only got the one eye. The kind of that joke.
Very dad joke.
Yeah, for Boba Fett, and that kind of
There you
stuff.
go. I was just going to say, Fat found the stuff. Bill and I belong to a beer group on Facebook, and a lot of people talk about how they love these hazy, dank, juice bomb bra IPAs. So I figure we should make one called Dank Farrick, Quadruple India Pale Ale. Give yourself a reason to have those drunken noodles from your favorite Thai place by getting drunk on this. Our QIPA is brewed with traditional Thai flavors such as chili, lemongrass, coconut milk, and lime to produce a brew that is mouthwatering and refreshing. We also add galangal and cilantro to our blend of 4 purpose-picked hops, Styrian, Challenger, Columbia, and Target, to bring you the dankest hazy juice bomb you can imagine. Brah, 7.7% ABV.
Well, I think ending with our sponsor sounds like a great way to wrap up.
Well, the thing is, I found out that the reason Grogu likes to eat all those frogs because they taste like beer.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because they got a lot of hops.
Yes!
I saw that one coming.
I'll get you next time, Gadget. Next time.